Good afternoon, Colonel Knight and honored guests, family members, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to today's Change of Responsibilities ceremony for the 208th Army Band. Today's distinguished guests are Colonel Stephen Knight, 81st RD Mission Command Support, Lieutenant Colonel Turner, Major Alex Brown, 213th Legal Operations Detachment, USAR Legal Command, Sergeant First Class Retired James Andrews, 208th Army Band, Captain Julia Robinson, 74th 58th Medical Operations Readiness Unit, and Staff Sergeant Retired Bobby Laporte, 208th Army Band, and Sergeant Retired Danielle Pedraza, 208th Army Band. Members of First Sergeant Dushak's family include his father, Tom Dushak, sister, Cassie Melvin, wife, Sergeant First Class Melissa Walker Dushak, and their sons Kyan and Sage. Today, First Sergeant Ryan Dushak will relinquish responsibility to Master Sergeant Patricia Dew. Presiding over today's ceremony is Chief Warrant Officer 3, Robert Slade, Commander 208th Army Band. The Commander of Troops for today's ceremony is Sergeant First Class Travis Tyson. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the playing of the national anthem by the 208th Band Brass Quintet. Please be seated. At this time, a bouquet of red roses is being presented to Sergeant First Class Walker Dushak on behalf of the soldiers of the 208th Band. Red is the color of the heart and reflects the support that Sergeant First Class Walker Dushak has shown to the band over the years. The roses are in full bloom, symbolizing the beauty and fulfillment of her time with us. First Sergeant Dushak enlisted in the Army Reserve in March of 1998. He excelled in multiple areas of soldiering, including marksmanship, routinely qualifying as expert, physical training, where he annually earned the physical fitness patch, and in NCOES, where he was the distinguished honor grad at BNOC and had the highest grade point average at both PLDC and SLC. First Sergeant Dushak spent 12 years with the 208th Army Band before accepting a promotion to E7 with the 2nd Battalion, 345th Infantry Regiment on Fort Jackson, South Carolina. In his time there, he became a certified observer, coach, trainer, and helped prepare units for overseas deployments in the unit's continuous mobilization support. After 5 years, he returned to the 208th Army Band in 2015, initially as a platoon sergeant before taking on first sergeant responsibilities in 2016. His roles within the band have included saxophone player in many different ensembles, drum major, training NCO, and physical training NCOIC. First Sergeant Dushak is passing on his first sergeant responsibilities after 7 years of commendable service. Master Sergeant Patricia Dew enlisted as a clarinet player in the Army Reserve in January of 2003. In July 2020, Master Sergeant Dew volunteered for a broadening assignment as the Emergency Preparedness Liaison Officer NCO for the state of North Carolina under the 76th ORC. In March 2023, Master Sergeant Dew was promoted to E8 and assigned back to the 208th Band. Master Sergeant Dew has served the 208th Army Band in many capacities during her 20 years of service. In addition to performing on clarinet, bass clarinet, and tenor saxophone for the band, Master Sergeant Dew has served as band librarian, physical training and Army Body Composition Program NCOIC, Unit Public Affairs Representative, Operations NCO, Master Resiliency Trainer, Small Ceremonial Band MPT Leader, Squad Leader, and Platoon Sergeant. As part of her NCO education, Master Sergeant Dew attended all applicable non-commissioned officer education courses in locations from Virginia to Washington State. While in attendance at the Master Leader course this past November, she received the second highest academic score of her class and was designated honor graduate. Master Sergeant Dew's passion for always helping the unit to perform to standard is just one of her many notable accomplishments. The ceremonial mace, consisting of a spiked ball connected to a wooden staff by a chain, is seen as a symbol of music and military discipline around the world. Historically, the mace was used as a jousting weapon to break armor when dismounted, and could also be used as a means to clear a path. Traditionally, a military drum major would be responsible for defending the drummers and bandsmen whilst maintaining the discipline, dress standards, and movements of the Army Band. In its evolution, the drum major's mace has become a symbol of the unit or group it precedes, and by this function, its shape has been adapted to facilitate a means of carriage. The crown of the mace of the 208th Army Band is uniquely ornamented to reflect the history and tradition of this unit. The senior non-commissioned officer is the keeper of the mace, and to this day still holds the responsibility for the drill and discipline of the band. Orders of Relief for Outgoing First Sergeant Ryan Dushak. Having served faithfully, you are hereby relieved of responsibility as the First Sergeant of the 208th Army Band. You have executed the duties of your office with dignity, dedication, and devotion to the command. Upon fulfilling your duties as the First Sergeant with honor, it is with great respect and the utmost gratitude that I pass on those standards and responsibilities on to your successor. Signed, Chief Warrant Officer 3, Robert H. Slade, Commanding. First Sergeant Dushak held these responsibilities for the 208th Army Band for 7 years. He will now relinquish them to Chief Warrant Officer 3 Slade, who will charge Master Sergeant Dew with those same responsibilities. Sergeant First Class Tyson passes the mace, the symbol of the authority of the non-commissioned officer, to First Sergeant Dushak in final deference to his authority and leadership. First Sergeant Dushak passes the mace to Chief Warrant Officer 3 Slade, signifying the relinquishing of his duties and gratitude for the opportunity to care for the 208th Band's fine soldiers. Chief Warrant Officer 3 Slade passes the mace to Master Sergeant Dew, delegating authority and entrusting her with the responsibility and care of the company. Master Sergeant Dew passes the mace back to Sergeant First Class Tyson, symbolizing her dedication to the soldiers of the 208th Army Band and the continuity of the NCO support channel. Charge orders for incoming First Sergeant Patricia Dew. Let it be known from this day forward that as the commander of the 208th Army Band, I have placed special trust and confidence in your patriotism, dedication, integrity, and leadership abilities. Therefore, I hereby appoint you to the office of First Sergeant 208th Army Band. In so appointing you, I charge you with the utmost leadership and mentorship for all non-commissioned officers in the command, imposing sound advice to the commander, and showing care and compassion for all soldiers and their families. Signed, Chief Warrant Officer 3, Robert H. Slade, Commanding. Ladies and gentlemen, the company commander, Chief Warrant Officer 3 Slade, will make remarks.
All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Colonel Knight, 81st Readiness Division MCSG Commander. Sir, it's a pleasure and an honor to have you here today, and also Lieutenant Colonel Turner for being here. She's a deputy commander at the MCSG. Thank you both for being here. It's really an honor. It's pretty awesome to get this kind of support, especially in-person support from you two. It's so good to see other 208th alumni here. I guess including Miss Pedraza. I guess she counts as a 208th alumni now. I'm not sure how that works. So alumni, I do want to, I was kind of hoping Chief Leiden was going to be here, but I've talked to him a little bit about having an alumni concert. We don't know when, but just something that we've kind of thrown around. Okay, so that would be just something I want y'all to think about. Okay, and maybe hopefully you'll hear something within the next 10 years about it. I don't know. So First Sergeant Dushak and I took over as a command team of the 208th right about the same time. It was 2016 when I took command, September 11th, 2016, so pretty close to 7 years ago. First Sergeant Dushak was acting First Sergeant there for a while as well. But First Sergeant Dushak, you're a natural leader with a gifted demeanor and intellect. You've always looked the part of a soldier because we all know you're a PT stud. And that's important as a senior enlisted, I believe. Just a few highlights. So early on, when you were the acting First Sergeant, the 208th went to War X at Fort McCoy, Wisconsin. A lot of y'all remember that. I don't think the band had really ever done anything quite like that, but the band, in addition to all the military type things we had to do there, the band performed 33 musical missions in 12 days. I don't know if y'all remember that. We played in the DFACs and did some ceremonies and all kinds of stuff. Set up an 18-wheeler trailer, and the rock band did a concert on that. The band benefited from your experience as an OCT. That's what that observer, controller, trainer thing is, what we call it, OCT. And that the OCT's job is to grade, rate, and assess the unit's performance at the War X, so they get validated so they can go deploy later on. Okay, so your expertise really came in handy. Okay, because you knew what that world looked like. We really didn't. The band has also experienced huge growth since you've been the First Sergeant. We've gone from about, I don't really remember exactly, but I'm going to say 85% strength to about 140% strength. Okay, the 208th also received the USARC Fiscal Year 22 Retention Award. So for the whole, at our level, we got the USARC Award for retention. So that's pretty huge. So I think we're the largest reserve in the largest band in the Army Reserve, and maybe on the list of one of the biggest in the entire Army. Not only are we the biggest, we are one of the most mission capable. During First Sergeant's time, I estimate the 208th has performed more than 500 missions. And that's during COVID. These are major accomplishments and would not have been possible without your personal attributes and character. Okay, the band has also had an excellent operational readiness evaluation. I think that was in 2021, so that was during COVID. And you put your medical knowledge to use as a pharmacist and used it to figure out how this band could train during a national crisis where everybody was on teams and doing virtual everything. So, we had to come here and do an in-person ORE to assess what we can only do in person. And we knocked that ORE out of the park, actually, okay? So to sum it up, First Sergeant, you're going to be missed, okay? But I do have a feeling we're going to see you from time to time, just have that feeling with your wife in the unit. So with the departure of First Sergeant Dushak, we were fortunate to have a new First Sergeant. First Sergeant Dew is a great fit for the 208th Army Band. After all, you were in the 208th for a number of years, as was previously stated, and spending the last 3 years as the Emergency Preparedness Liaison Officer, NCO, for the state of North Carolina is quite, is such a cool assignment and beneficial to us because you saw things at a totally different level. You were hanging out with a colonel all the time instead of just some warrant officer. You saw things from a totally different angle. In fact, when I told Chief Eckhoff about that, he was like, "You need to talk to her about her perspective on things now." So First Sergeant Dew, I remember back when we were E5s together in this unit, I had just ETS from the 82nd, and I quickly realized that you were a great NCO. If the unit needed something done, we turned to you to get it done. You had many jobs, wore many hats, and had many duties because you were and still are hardworking and dependable. You were promoted to staff sergeant, and I noticed how great of a squad leader you were. You really took care of soldiers and cared about them, and you had their best interest at heart. And then you were of course, promoted to Sergeant First Class. You served as Operations NCO, IC, and Platoon Sergeant, where you continued that same hard work and devotion to the unit. So I'm honored to serve with you again and to now call you my First Sergeant. So thank you all for being here today. It's really an honor to see each of you. Wildcats never quit.
Ladies and gentlemen, First Sergeant Dushak, the outgoing First Sergeant, will make remarks.
Hey, band, out there, go ahead and take a second and just rest. Shake that out, okay? It's hotter than I thought it was going to be out there, especially on that pavement, all right? All right, good morning, everyone. Colonel Knight, Lieutenant Colonel Turner, Major Brown, distinguished guests, friends and family, thank you for being here today, truly. To my family, Dad, I didn't realize you were going to be here. Thanks for coming. My dad, my sister Cassie, thank you. To my wife Melissa, my boys Kyan and Sage, thank you so much. It really means a lot to have you here today. Melissa, I know you're on BA status this weekend, so you didn't have much of a choice anyway. But hey, thanks. Regardless, I know I wouldn't be here without you and the support you provided. Honestly, to my soldiers in formation, I couldn't be more proud and honored to be here with you today. You guys are amazing. Brass quintet behind me. I know these following words are what we have looked for on the parade field 1,000 times if we had performed ceremonies like this. Band, thank you for being here today. You look and sound amazing. So as of yesterday afternoon, I thought I was just going to come up here and kind of wing this. Didn't put a whole lot of thought into what I was going to say. But considering that we as a band field in the reserves, these ceremonies don't happen very often. So I thought, I should put some thought into my comments here. I won't be too long though, I promise. But as you heard earlier, I enlisted in my senior year in high school in 1998. But never could I have imagined that that one decision would have affected the trajectory of my life so much. Like most of the soldiers here today, I enlisted so that I could continue to play music. That's not what most of the Army, thinks going into the Army. Both of my parents were professional musicians, so I was raised around music. I knew I wanted to continue playing, but I didn't want to make that my profession. So this was a perfect solution. My father He was in the Army, having served in Korea during the Vietnam. He had talked to me multiple times about joining the service for the benefits, and so we got the local recruiter to line up an audition, and then I never looked back. But being a first sergeant here, this has been such a rewarding experience. It's truly been my favorite job in the Army. I love taking care of soldiers and troubleshooting issues to help the unit. That's really my passion. Then I recently accomplished another lifetime goal of mine, which was completing pharmacy school and becoming a pharmacist. I'm now a pharmacy supervisor at a VA hospital in Charleston, taking care of those pharmacists and technicians, as well as the veterans who fought for us as a nation. And I'm confident that wouldn't have happened without the experience that I've had here, and I've obtained as a first sergeant here in this unit. I do want to take a minute and just go back to that decision, that I mentioned about joining the Army and how it's affected my life. I met my wife, Melissa, here in the unit back in 1998. We got married in 2006 and have a wonderful family. Melissa, I don't know where I would be without you and the boys, but I know I wouldn't be as happy as I am right now. So it's affected me so much. And I just spoke about my dream to become a pharmacist. And, it's difficult as a pharmacist to get a residency in the VA system and then be hired on permanently within the VA. And I'm confident that my time here in the Army played a major role into allowing me to have that opportunity. So when you step back and think about a simple decision about signing on that line to join the Army, or maybe if I would have, quit music, going into high school, none of this would have ever happened. So it's interesting when you think about it from that perspective. But hey, you guys out there in formation, to my soldiers out there, it has truly been an honor serving with you. Sergeant Tyson, I'm pretty sure you and I are the only soldiers left here in the unit who deployed with the band to El Salvador back in 2000. Sergeant Reynolds, I'm not sure if you, I think, that's what I thought. Tyson, I think we're it. Moving forward, I want to let you all know that you are in good hands. Okay, Sergeant Dew and I have a long history together in this band as well, and I would tell you she knows how to get things done. You've already heard it from Chief. I know that. Chief Slade knows that, and that's why she is here today. Chief, it has been an honor serving as your first sergeant as well. You have big visions for this band, and we are continuing to strive for excellence. I have to believe that we are the largest reserve band in the Army, just exactly what you said, and arguably the best musicians in the Army Reserve. Those musicians, like I said, you are in good hands. But I'm not going far. I'm still in this unit. I'm still in the Army. But when the time comes for me to hang it up for good, I can't be too far away from Melissa, so I'm sure I'll be around. Okay. To the younger soldiers, I want to just take a second, just let me give a little bit of advice, okay? My wife and I were both promoted out of this band in 2010. Melissa going to a drill sergeant unit, and then me going to a training battalion. Now I know now there's an exception to policy that states that a bandsman does not have to take that transfer when a promotion is tied to it. But let me tell you, that transfer is not always a bad thing, all right? We talked a second ago about perspective. So both myself and your next first sergeant here, Sergeant Dew, took an assignment outside of the band field. I know we all enlisted to play music, but it can be very rewarding to have that perspective of outside the band field and have that knowledge, especially if you're coming back into the band field to share that with everyone else. So as an OCT with the 2nd and 345th, when I was at Fort Jackson, I was helping to prepare units for overseas deployments. I had multiple annual trainings at Camp Atterbury, Indiana, where we would run the culminating training events for those soldiers, just days before they were about to deploy to Afghanistan. And it gives you some perspective, okay? Definitely some perspective about the Army that you just don't experience in the band. It could be a little unsettling. I know we're joining the Army thinking we're going to be musicians forever. You transfer out, you're not quite sure when you're going to come back, if you're going to come back, but let me tell you, it could be worth it, all right? It's rewarding. The band, again, it's been a huge privilege serving as your first sergeant. When I came to the realization that I no longer had the time and capacity to give you all what this unit needs and deserves, I knew it was time to pass on this responsibility. Okay, you guys need more than what I can offer. Sergeant Dew, just continue to be yourself, and you will accomplish great things. 208th Army Band, it has been an honor. First Sergeant Dushak signing out.
Ladies and gentlemen, the First Sergeant of the 208th Army Band, First Sergeant Dew, will make remarks.
Welcome and thank you to Colonel Knight, Lieutenant Colonel Turner, Major Brown, Chief Slade. Thank you to all of our family members and special guests. The presence of all of you means, and your support means so much to me. 20 years ago, when I raised my right hand and I swore to uphold and defend this nation and the Constitution, I could not have imagined myself where I am today. At that time, all Specialist Dew knew was that she needed a second job and that the Army Reserve Band was a way better way to make that happen, but with much better pay and benefits than her friends who were bartending and waiting tables after hours. That decision to enlist has been one of the best decisions I have ever made. The Army has allowed me to expand my horizons, to gain leadership skills, to travel the country, and to grow as a person, a soldier, and a leader. Today, as I assume the responsibility of the First Sergeant role, I am honored to have been selected and entrusted with all the duties and responsibilities inherent in that role. The NCOs I have served with have all taught me valuable lessons on what to do or what not to do in order to take care of soldiers. I would be remiss if I did not thank First Sergeant Dushak for the leadership and guidance that he has provided to me and to the 208th Band throughout his years of service in the unit. Along with Chief Slade, First Sergeant Dushak has set the unit up for success, and I will do my best to continue moving the unit forward to future accomplishments. The talent, passion, and commitment of the soldiers of the 208th together lead us to great things. Though we all face challenges as citizen soldiers with finding enough time to devote to both our civilian careers and our military obligations, I am here to support all of you to the best of my abilities. All current policies and procedures are still in effect, and I will see you all in formation. Wildcats never quit.
Please rise for the playing of the Army Song by the 208th Band Brass Quintet.
Charge of the company.
This concludes the change of responsibility ceremony. Please join us inside for a brief reception.